So a slightly different video than normal. This is a, I guess, overview, retrospective, whatever you want to call it, of a project I've had for a few months. It's an arcade cab for the game Outrun 2006, Coast to Coast. It's kind of a leaving gift for my best friend, as I'm moving abroad, so I thought I'd leave him something nice. Also helps, I don't know how to say it, but get rid of some things, because I've been using a lot of stuff I've had lying around for some time for this project, and I thought it'd be nice to recycle it into something rather than just chuck it out or sell it to someone. So I guess we'll start with the screen. A while back, the same friend was throwing out 2 CRTs, so I thought I would clean them up and see what I could do with them. We had a Goodman and a Ferguson. I sold the Goodman after cleaning that up, but the Ferguson I wanted to keep, so we played some games on it. I was watching shows on it, and I thought I'd use it for a robot, but I never really got around to doing that. To get it working, I made a janky converter. To start with, I was just using RCA to RF, and then I had a HDMI to RCA. Later on I'll be able to show the whole conversion setup better, but on screen should be some pictures of the first conversion stage. With this set of converters, I ended up soldering them together, like the RCA to RCA bit, so I had just a HDMI straight to RF. It was a bit janky, but it did work, and it saved up a USB port, so each of the converters needed a USB power in. I figured I'd just tie the rails together. That seemed to work okay. The picture's not perfect, but it's RF, so there's not much you can do about it. Ideally I would have had like an RGB mod, but the Ferguson doesn't have that. It's quite old, so yeah, I ended up 3D printing a simple case for it, which made mounting quite a bit easier. Some other bits I had knocking around were the actual computer I used. I didn't really want to just like throw in a Raspberry Pi and have like that running. I'd like to have hardware, and I think I did pretty good to get hardware from around the time the game came out. The computer is a old Dell Tower, and it's quite important to me as it was my first desktop that I got to play with and like experiment with. It was running Windows XP, and I think it really helped me learn quite a bit about computers. So I wanted to use that. It was missing a few bits though. I ended up getting a fairly new power supply for it, and I needed a better GPU as the integrated was not cutting it for this game. The problem with these Dell Towers though is they lack any sort of AGP or PCIe slot, just PCI, which there weren't many cards made for apparently. So I had to splash a bit more cash than I'd have liked for a FX 5200 card, but that really seemed to help with the game's performance. Another thing I had lying around was the steering wheel and pedals. Originally got it for EMNG Drive, and I played a bit with it. It was fun, but I never really played it all that much. It's a Satec R4 400. Quite an old wheel, but it feels pretty decent to use. The force feedback's not bad. So I ended up using that for this project as well, because no point really bringing it with me if I'm not using it. The pedals was great to have as well, so that really worked well with this game. Although, for some reason, the force feedback didn't work for this game, even though it was made for this. It was made for Windows XP, or around that time. The other software works fine with it, it's just it doesn't work with this game. And I think that's because the FXT mod for Outrun doesn't work on XP. Well, I can't get it to work, so that was a shame. But other than that, it worked really well, and the default return to center works great for this wheel. So with the all the parts, I ended up making, I guess you could call it a dry fit. I brought like a kitchen moving table spice rack thing, and attached everything to that. Sat the CRT on top. One of the shelves I used some old bed slats to sit the computer. The pedals could sit at the bottom, and the wheel fit on quite nicely. And I was able to play a fair bit on it. This clip here of my brother playing on it, and it felt pretty good. It was loose, and it didn't look particularly great, but it was easy to play the game. It was easy to initiate drifts, so once I'd done that, I was able to start CADing it out to move on to getting the actual MDF siding made. So with all of that in place, I was able to get out some basic measurements and make some fairly simple CAD. I made it in Fusion 360. Made the sides and footwell to start with. Later on I did some more designing, but I wanted to get the basic shell made, as I thought that would bring it together quite nicely and it would give me more to work with mounting wise. So with the profiles ready, I wanted to get them CNC'd, and I found a company called CNC Creations. And I was able to cut it out of 18mm thick MDF, which worked great. Initially I just balanced it up, but after some time I found some scrap wood and I was able to glue and nail it together and get a basic fit. We did another test play on it and it felt pretty good. It was a lot more heavy, so you were able to thrash around the wheel a lot more, and it had a bit more grip on the floor, I want to say. So it made playing it feel a lot better. Also gave it a bit more presence. Like, it took up about the same amount of space, but it looked bigger. So made it feel a lot more like an arcade cab. So there wasn't enough inputs. I mean, I could have done it all on the wheel. I had some side buttons and front buttons, but I wanted to make it feel more like a car. So I wanted to add a shifter. I figured I'd also add some arcade buttons for start and going back. So on AliExpress I ordered random bits, some random buttons, the shifter, some lights, and that seemed pretty good. I did have some problems with it, and there's still some problems now. I need to send a patch, as it were. I'm using Arduino, which you can set up as a keyboard device, but it's not great, and it sometimes just doesn't pick up on button inputs. So it's a mix of wiring and a poor selection of the controller, but you can shift up and down and you can navigate menus, so it does its job. So there's a little bit more CADing that needed to be done. That's for the button plate where the shifter and buttons would mount, and the screen bezel. I didn't really know a great way to do it, so I used cardboard to do it. Just kind of cutting it up, drawing on it, seeing how well it fits. I think I got it pretty good for the bezel and button plate. So once that was done, I made the bezel first, and it fit pretty good. I wanted to put the Sega logo on it, and to make it blue I just found some random folder, hot glued it on the back. It looks alright. You can still see the print lines on it after painting it, but I think you need to get close to see that. So I wasn't too concerned about that. So between getting the bezel made and the button plate, I did some painting for the actual cab. It turned out pretty good. I used some metal/interior paint, I'm not quite sure what it was called, but it worked pretty good for this. There were some problems, like there was a seam on some parts. I was able to fill that in with wood glue and that looked pretty good, but I had some pretty sloppy nail work. So to hold in the front plate and the top plates, I had nails on the visible side. So I hammered them in deeper and then filled them in with wood glue and sawdust. And it came out quite smooth, but there's something wrong with the texture and it shows through the paint, but you have to get really close. So I think it's okay. And the paint is textured. I used a textured roller, which added a nice surface. So I wanted to get the metal plate done next, and a few things need to be done for that. One, designing it. I made a simple SVG using the cardboard from before, and then once I had that, I sent it off to a company called Xometry. I've used them before quite a bit with my other robots. So I had that plasma cut out of aluminium, and then the other part was installing it. So I actually made 2 slides. The whole panel slides out. I had a small oversight though, because you can't slide the panel out when the button and shifter are mounted, because they collide with the frame. So it's a little awkward to get it in and out, but it does work. I think it turned out pretty nice. So I could have done it out of other materials, but I thought metal would have been best. I wanted to get it corrugated, but I couldn't really find anything for that. So the aluminium still did a great job. Another small problem I had, and I never really got a good solution for it, was the pedal box. I couldn't 3D print the whole thing because it would have taken 2 kilograms of plastic. So I ended up using like one of those closed fabric box things that go in like a cube unit, and then making just the front part out of printed material. It's a little sloppy, and if you look inside you can see where it's not properly sealed, but I poked some holes in the plastic part and nailed that down and filled the border, I guess, with some hot glue, so it shouldn't be going anywhere. And if it needs to be removed, sure, it will probably destroy the plastic, but I don't think it will do much damage to the actual MDF, so if it needs to be replaced, it can be. So with it being so close to being done, I thought I would start doing some cable management. So with the computer in and the CRT and pedals and wheel, I used some tacks I got to attach everything to the sides. The extra step I mentioned earlier for the video conversion was to convert the VGA from the GPU to HDMI, and then that HDMI goes into the RCA, and then that RCA goes into the RF, which is a bit janky, but it gets the job done. I didn't get any pictures of it, but I also had some PC speakers mounted up top, facing towards what would be the wall, and this actually sounded pretty good because it bounces off and up and over. So I was quite happy with how that turned out. Other than that, there's minimal cable management for the button pad. Again, I don't have any photos of that, but it really wasn't all that much. It's just the one USB cable coming out the Arduino. So one of the more exciting parts of the project was getting the art made. So I contacted a company called Arcade Art Shop to do the design and printing of the lightbox and the vinyl, and I was quite happy with the designs they sent in. For reference, I sent them like a little AI image. I sent, I think it was ChatGPT, the CAD, and I told it to color it in based on the box art for the game, and it made this, which I thought looked quite nice. So I sent that, and then they sent back the lightbox art and the side art, which I was quite happy with. A little while later, they sent the physical things. So we got the lightbox first, and there were some problems with it. Not problems with the lightbox, more problems with how I designed the cab. The light didn't go through so good. So there is a backlight, but I'm not really using it. It's not plugged in. So it's there. To be honest, it's bright enough, so as is without the light. So I think it looks okay. Then the next part was the side art, which I was a little freaked out about because I've never done such a large application before. But it turned out pretty good. There were some specks and some bubbles underneath it, but because it's a dark blue, it's actually really hard to see, even under fairly bright light. So I was very pleased with how that turned out, and it really brought the whole thing together. So this was the project pretty much done. It was just final touches. So in some of those pictures, I had the trim added, only on one side because I ran out, so I had to get a second lot of that before I sent it off. And that came just in time as well, so literally the same day it was being picked up. And then I guess a bunch of software stuff, so programming the buttons and shifter. I made it so if you press the 2 buttons and down, it shuts the computer down. I also made some edits to Windows XP, so the Sega logo shows up instead of the XP logo when loading, and it says Sega on startup and when it shuts down. I'm not sure if there's much else tweaking wise. I'm sure there probably was like minor adjustments. There were some things I didn't do. I wanted to add a kettle lead input on it, but I just didn't have time to make a mount, so it's just the extension lead I'm using. And I did want to clean up the video conversion, but again, the screen worked fine, so I deemed it not necessary. So finally was giving the arcade to my friend. So we loaded it into a van and got it over just fine. I made it so the screen and the computer are easy to remove, otherwise it'd be impossible to move. I actually got 2 of the marquees, so I had one for test fits and then another one I wanted to keep sealed. So I put that one on the sealed one so we could peel it off and see how that would look and sound. It's held in with friction, so it's a bit precarious, but it came off quite nicely. And then after this, we played on it a little bit. I like how you get score based on distance.
That score is what you use to buy cars?
Buy cars, yeah. Overall, I would say this project went quite well, considering it's my first arcade cab. I definitely want to build more in the future. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the project and I hope anyone watching this enjoyed the video. So yeah, thank you for watching.